Hey everyone, it's Nathan Orenstein with The No Show, here with short movie reviews for The Old Guard, Greyhound, and Palm Springs, which can be found on Netflix, Apple TV Plus, and Hulu, respectively. Noteworthy new movies are sadly a bit hard to come by these days, but last Friday was a strangely big day in the world of streaming. So let's get right into it with my review of The Old Guard. So The Old Guard is an action movie directed by Prince-Bythewood about a team of immortal soldiers who are on the run from some people who want to use their bodies for medical tests and whatnot. They're led by Charlize Theron's character, who is over 1,000 years old at this point. The Old Guard does one thing really well, and that's action. These fight scenes are choreographed in really fresh and exciting ways, and they're shot incredibly well too, with seamless visual effects. Since these are immortal soldiers who have been around for centuries, they use weaponry from all sorts of different eras, and that adds a really cool twist to these already great fight scenes. Unfortunately, the action is really the only part of the Old Guard that really excels. There isn't anything particularly bad here. Well, scratch that actually. The soundtrack is atrocious, and I can't remember the last time I've seen a movie use music in such a terrible way. But anyway, nothing else in the film really sticks out as being too bad, but it's just kind of there. This largely seems to be the product of just some incredibly bland direction, but the writing's nothing to get excited about here either. It's a shame too, because a movie about soldiers who can't die could have been really exciting. Unfortunately, it just really isn't. In fact, I often found myself just sitting in boredom waiting for the next action scene to come. I think this could be a good watch if you're really into superhero movies, but don't expect anything on par with Marvel and their cool and exciting characters and their witty dialogue. I don't know, maybe just skip to the fight scenes, that could be fun. At the end of the day, The Old Guard is just pretty mediocre overall, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Next up is Greyhound, which is a World War II naval film directed by Aaron Schneider. It stars Tom Hanks as the captain of the Greyhound, and interestingly enough, he actually wrote the screenplay as well. To be honest, this isn't really that interesting though, since this movie really puts most of its focus on the battles between the Greyhound and German U-boats, and not really too much on the dialogue or anything. Which is fine. This movie knows what it's good at, and it sticks to its guns for the most part. There are some quieter moments in between, but for the most part, this is just a really fast-paced action war movie. These battle scenes are done really well, and the movie's pretty technically impressive, even though there are definitely some moments where the budgetary restrictions start to show. The movie's exciting and immersive, and honestly, these battles feel pretty real. The problem with Greyhound, though, is that it is a bit of a one-trick pony. The first couple of battles are invigorating and had me truly invested, but after those, everything kind of starts to bleed into each other. The movie's broken up into probably about 4 or 5 time chunks. For example, Friday 6 to noon, and then Saturday 10 to 1. You get the gist. But each of these chunks really feels similar. The movie is only about 90 minutes long, so this template doesn't wear too thin, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't bored by the end of this movie. And in between these battles, there really isn't anything noteworthy to get excited about either. I did enjoy Greyhound overall, and like I said, the action is done really well despite some budgetary restrictions. But things start to feel repetitive about halfway in, and aside from these battles, there's not much here. It's an okay film, and I'm going to give Greyhound a 6 out of 10. Last is Max Barbakow's Palm Springs, and this is without a doubt the best movie of the bunch. It's a rom-com that stars Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti, and it features that classic Groundhog Day premise of repeating a day over and over. I don't want to say too much about this movie because it's definitely one of those ones where you should go in as blind as possible, but what I will say is that this is just a really well-written rom-com that says a lot about love and life in general. And probably the biggest surprise here is that the Groundhog Day premise hasn't been completely beaten into the ground yet, and there's still some originality to be squeezed out of it. Samberg and Milioti are both great here, and the movie has this very specific vibe that comes from Andy Sierra's great screenplay. It's quirky, but not in like an annoying way, and more of in a genuinely charming way. I really hate to be so vague in describing this movie and by not talking about it as much as the others, but I just don't want to spoil anything at all. Palm Springs is great, and you should really check it out on Hulu if you have it. I'm going to be giving it an 8 out of 10. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video, so leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new. And if you've seen any of these movies, I'd love to hear your thoughts about them down in the comments below. I've been Nathan Orenstein with The No Show. Thanks for watching.